Salam alaikum, kif halek, kifukum, shlonek, shalom, merhaba, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste, privyet, bonjour, buongiorno, saludos, hola, dag, hashberev, yak shemash. Je suis Ali, Anna Alex. I am the CEO of Orca Oshi Capital. Shout out to my partner, Ronnie, BTS, and an electronic dance music DJ. And for those of you wondering why I'm posting right now, it's because Bloomberg is not going to continue programming for another too many hours that I cannot wait. And I cannot be the only one addicted to St. Michael's channel. Therefore, let's go ahead and talk about housing, shall we? Mortgage rates are still 5%. I saw it was 5.1%, but I would say 16.6% of new home sales going cha-ching, and not in a good way, is a pretty big sign that something is going to happen, especially with pending home sales of about, I want to say 3.9% in April. Fact check the fuck out of me. I don't profess to be perfect, unlike many of the LinkedIn people who still do not understand the Federal Reserve does not print the money. Okay, the Fed Reserve doesn't print the money. The Treasury prints the money, people. Dear banks, anyone watching this, it doesn't matter if somebody has a luxury brand degree. If they do not know who prints the money, fire them. Because there's no way in hell they're going to understand the repo markets. Moving on, 19% of home sellers dropped their price. Yikes. And we have rate hikes coming in June. Super cute, super fun. Super interesting. I'm going to project 0.5, and America's partying like it's 1929, minus the fact that we're not making shit to make shit, and China's having a semiconductor convention next month to more than likely try to get American investors, hypothetically, allegedly, of course. Now, the Federal Reserve shrinking the balance sheet beginning in June is going to be very interesting, because Q1, the Federal Reserve posted a 340 billion unrealized losses. Not good, because what happens if they sell mortgage-backed securities at lower rates when rates are going up, thus not exactly fulfilling the Treasury's need of liquidity? Hopefully I said that accurately. Jamie Dimon doesn't seem too happy about it, and I know he made a statement talking about 2018 and the quantitative tightening policy being a failure. Mr. Dimon, though, however, is someone brilliant who came up with the Troubled Asset Relief Program along with other titans and masters of the universe. Therefore, I expect nothing more than for him to have tons of solutions, being that he's been there, done that. I do suggest or wonder, if possible, when they sell mortgage-backed securities, is there a way for the banks, the institutions? I look at corporate buybacks, and corporate buybacks didn't do jack shit. But from 2017 onward, 300 billion plus of corporate buybacks just for the financial institutions, and there were still losses. So what if the financial institutions figured out a way to use corporate bonds, debt, in relation to swapping with the mortgage-backed securities? They're not too different in relation to tools, and especially us newbies in finance, we love to make up new shit. Just look at the derivatives market. I was not even born yet, but our ideas get the best of us. We mean well, though. However, I'm thinking, as someone who projects a cataclysmic disaster of people not affording to be able to pay credit cards, especially when rates hikes again and APRs at 18%. And just to spell that out, guys, if you put gas in your car right now at the highest price it's ever been, I think $4.90, and you use a credit card, you're essentially paying 20%. And even though it's 18, let's round it up. 20% on your gas. Same with groceries or a meal. Do you really want to pay 20% on the steak that you are eating today, 2 months from now? That doesn't even make sense to me in any way, shape, or form at all. It's almost as confusing as Brazil using Stellar for a central bank digital currency, a centralized bank digital currency, yet Stellar, the decentralized cryptocurrency. That is also very confusing to myself, but I'm no genius. And with the Fed Reserve unrealized losses in Q1 of 340 billion, I do think the mortgage-backed securities being sold off should be done thoughtfully, and the institutions may benefit, because let's hypothetically allegedly say we hit a technical depression, being the GDP, I want to say, was about 1.5. Again, fact check the fuck out of me. Everything I do is monologued from my head. I don't have notations, none of that. I speak from the heart. Just like the ruble is at 40%. Ain't that something? I keep talking about the de-dollarization project from 2014, Russia, China, and nobody believed me until they did, of course, and research yourself. But I do find it interesting that for all these sanctions upon sanctions, the ruble is thriving. I'd argue the best currency out there. Somebody please show me statistics that show otherwise. He bounced back well. Maybe we should learn a thing or two. Or maybe we should understand as Americans that projecting policy that's not maybe well thought is scaring the shit out of the rest of the world. And instead of the rest of the world cowering because they're over it, they're saying, well, fuck it, we want alternatives. Hence why the yuan's doing well. Israel added the yuan, the IMF added weight with the yuan. And the yuan is interesting. It always stays around 15 cents. And speaking of the yuan, let's talk about Evergrande. Evergrande, the second largest property developer in China. Ooh la la. Don't forget Cynic the Third just defaulted. Evergrande's bond payment plan sounds a lot like the game Monopoly, but worse. They're structuring payments in a form of new bonds for off shareholders. And I thought Lehman's was bad, but nah. This seems to be much more well curated though. Chinese government seems to really know what it's doing in relation to its no COVID policy, and modern day Mao just continues to continue with no American intervention in any type of political realm, except I did see Congress has a bill where they're going to ban the digital yuan from Google and Apple. Well, Congress, I'm not sure if you realize that America's gone from freedom to free stuff and Steve Jobs to no jobs, but more than likely, they don't give a fuck. And why are we not focused on ourselves? I'm going to do these videos, by the way, in 8 to 9 minute parts just because they work better. I hate these long videos, and I think they're much more entertaining. So stay tuned. Part 2 of Alex Bressler trying to be Bloomberg, updating people on what's going on, because addicted to finance 24/7. It is definitely a lifestyle. And again, shout out to everyone. And by everyone, I mean every mentor who has been loving, encouraging, and supportive of me expressing myself and my opinions and my projections.